Good morning. Did you know that hunger is a global issue? Did you know that every year in the United States and abroad, 870 million people do not have enough to eat? Did you know that 1 in 6 Americans faces hunger? I know that many of us in this room do not know what it's truly like to be hungry, and I sincerely hope that you never will. However, it is important to understand that an individual's success, income, and food supply can change in an instant.
The have and the have-nots. The line. The place that people on the bottom are trying to get to, and the place that people on the top are trying to keep from going below. They don't want to look below it either. They don't want to see what's down there, because that'll make them feel too guilty about being above it.
The line is the firing line in which people face survival or death. And sometimes the person holding the gun is their neighbor, and sometimes it's their congressman or their alderman who's not doing enough to help them.
The line is where you are always in a position to give help. And then for the first time, this line of I've gone from being somebody who could help to being somebody who needs help.
There's a certain amount of pride that comes in being independent. And there's a certain amount of shame that comes into having to beg for every little thing that you get.
$23,000 is no money, nearly. And yet I could still see families who make $35,000, who are still poor, who are still about to lose their home, who still can't afford groceries.
When you start trying to tell people about poverty, they start making excuses and making heartless statements about why people are in poverty, and they don't even have a clue. They don't even have a clue.
Some of the most prevalent and damaging stereotypes about poor people are that they're lazy, that they're stupid, they don't have any skills, prefer poverty, that they can't take care of their families.
Poor people are working harder, just trying to keep their heads above water than we can even imagine. It's hard.
It doesn't matter if you have to stand in line and kind of feel bad about yourself, that you're a failure. You have to cross that line to be able to keep the lights on, to be able to keep feeding your kids.
That could be you without a house, wondering if they're going to come and put you out. But for the grace of God, because a lot of these people had jobs, have degrees, did everything right, but the bottom fell out. And that bottom was that line. They went below that line.
DuPage County is considered one of the richest counties in the state of Illinois, probably one of the top 50 counties in the country as far as per capita income. So there are a lot of well-educated, middle-class, upper-middle-class people that live here. There's also the part of the county that people don't talk about. There's the about 10% of the population that lives at or below the federal poverty line.
Morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
You have an appointment for August
There you go. You're all set.
Thank you. Just have a seat over there. Okay, thanks.
I remember the first time that I tried to go, I just couldn't do it. I drove there, and I sat there, and I couldn't get out of the car. And the second time I got out of the car, I went in line, and then just got either impatient or just sort of embarrassed and just kind of walked away. Because you just don't want to admit that you're that defeated. You've been brought up never to be a charity case, never to have to ask for help, and all of a sudden you're in that position where you got nowhere else to go, and it's hard.
And you're here for food pantry today?
Right.
Okay. And you have a birthday bag for Jason?
Yes.
Good. All right. How old is Jason?
It's going to be 12.
Suburban poverty is now at currently higher rate than urban poverty. It's been a tidal wave over the last 5 years, whereas maybe before it was a trickle, now it's just suddenly, people standing outside the door of the food pantry waiting for us to open. There's a desperation, and all the organizations haven't been ready to deal with the numbers of people coming through their doors. Private organizations are a drop in the bucket compared to the federal assistance programs, and so I think there's got to be a partnership. We certainly know that we have a responsibility to do the job that we're doing, and we want to do the job we're doing, but we can't do it alone. We need the resources of the government to help.
So you said 2 from here?
Right.
And then one from here? Okay. Okay.
Applesauce.
All right. 1 box of cereal? Okay. All right. Should I go healthy or what the kids like?
Everyone comes here. It's people that have grown up in poverty to people that had 6-figure jobs, that were running companies that have lost their jobs. So they're at the end of their rope and they end up here because they don't have anywhere else to turn.
I'm 48 years old, and I have 3 kids, single dad, got a daughter who's 17, and 2 sons. They're 14 and 11. Going to be 12 and 2 or Wednesday. So.
Hi. Get 2 pieces for me.
Okay. All right.
I was in banking as senior vice president, making me 6 figures. I was very comfortable. Then the last bank I was at was acquired, went off on my own, and started to organize banks kind of at the perfect wrong time in a perfect storm, and kind of everything fell apart from that.
Baked ham for sandwiches.
Okay.
We also have baked turkey in the back there.
My wife at that time filed for divorce because we were in an affluent town. Kind of the stress of all of it took its toll on our marriage, and pretty much that was it. I had to decide what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I had always in the back of my mind thought about teaching. My mom was a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, my sister was a teacher, so I kind of thought, well, maybe this is my signal to make that transition. Sometimes you just feel like you're sending your resume into a black hole. You talk, to a principal, or you follow up and they're like, we've got 4,000 applicants. And you're like, okay, how do I get noticed? How do I do anything? Pretty much I've been on my own for 2 years, trying to make by on substitute teaching income, trying to make by on any tutoring income I can get on the side. In substitute teaching, you're looking at $85 to $100 a day, depending if you get called into work that day. And usually it's last minute. You may get a phone call at 5:30 in the morning. For me, best case, if I'm working almost every day, I can make $12,000. That would be the best I could do. never thought I would be in that position. I was a straight A student. I got a high ACT, went to a great school, graduated high honors. Everything is roses. Everything's perfect in your life.
Coffee. Always desperate for coffee.
You have to work really hard to find the way to get by. The government isn't really seeking you out to say, we want to help you get you back on your feet.
All the bread you want?
Oh, the bread? Okay. All right. All right.
I mean, I'm insulted if somebody says, John, you're just lazy. You're just not trying. You just don't care. I'm like, I care. I care more than anybody.
Thank you very much. It's sort of like being at a grocery store where not everything's been put on the shelf, but you just have to do the best you can and hope you get enough that can help you to get through each month. So you kind of put your own choices to the back burner because you just have to try to look and say, what do you really need?
I think that there's a real divide in this country and that people are struggling. The people that maybe are sort of untouched by the recession think that, oh, well, unemployment is going down and, things are starting to look up. Businesses are starting to hire people. They're not seeing those people that have really, really been struggling for a long, long time.
You have to make choices sometimes about what bills you're going to pay. I mean, I've had my gas shut off. I've had my electric shut off. It's horrifying, and it's embarrassing when your kids go to turn on something and it doesn't work. It's the most horrible feeling in the world. Kids just don't get it. I think that's been the hardest thing, is just to answer the questions. My youngest son will just say, Dad, when are you going to get your car fixed? And it's like, well, when I can, I have gotten used to checking for the expiration dates. Sometimes, you just got to be careful. I mean, not that you're angry, you're grateful that you get what you get, but one time I got like some Velveeta that somebody donated. It was like 5 years old, and it was like a black brick. But I'm hoping that I can hold on for at least another year, maybe two. My kids at the age they are, I really want to be around for them, so moving isn't an option for me. I just feel like I've aged so much. It's like a constant kind of throbbing in your mind of like, what am I going to do? I don't want to worry about this anymore, but you just don't know how to stop it. You're doing everything that every person says is the right thing to do, the right steps to follow, but it's not happening. And what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen fast enough?
We did not choose to present this video to you as a means to depress you. We chose this video to remind you that the world is not a perfect place and that there are people in the world who need your help. On Sunday, September 29th at Housatonic Valley Regional High School, the Northwest Connecticut Crop Hunger Walk will take place at 1 o'clock. This 5 or 10 mile walk serves as an avenue to raise money for local families around the world who are fighting against hunger. 25% of the money raised in Northwest Connecticut will remain here to help local families, and 75% will be distributed to other organizations throughout the world. That money helps provide local families with food vouchers and gift cards to grocery stores, and around the world can provide food, water, as well as tools to help those attempt to sustain resources over a period of time. In addition to financial contributions, the opportunity to walk helps to raise awareness that you are doing something outside yourself for the greater good. Since 1990, the number of those around the world who are hungry has fallen by 130 million. but the recession in 2008 has stalled that forward progress. As you can see from the video, unfortunate circumstances can happen to anyone at any time. At Salisbury School, I am often in awe of how well we can do as a community when it comes to raising money for well-deserving organizations. We know that all of you out there will do a great job providing funding to those who are in need. However, our challenge to you is to take it a step further and join us on this walk. In our eyes, it is very easy to give a financial contribution, and that is an important part of helping those who are in need. But we are challenging this community to give not just financial support, but to give of yourselves. As Knights, I know that we often think that living on the hilltop can be difficult with the rigorous structure that we have in place. But I urge you to take the time next Sunday and join us on this walk. Your presence will not only help raise money and awareness, but also allow those of this community to know that at Salisbury, we are true gentlemen who look to give back to those who are in need of our help. Thank you.